Hello, art history teachers who are teaching ART111 for fall. We've been asked to gather data, assessment data for the art history classes in general for part of the department's assessment reporting. And we're going to start with 111. So this class is going to be the guinea pig this fall. I created a form for you to go ahead and record your data into. It's online and I've made it pretty simple, so hopefully this isn't going to cause you too much extra grading time or anything like that. Really quickly before I show you the form, just to clarify, what we're doing is checking to see how well the students are meeting the outcomes for the class. So for example, we have the outcome that's about visual literacy. So then we're looking at a student paper and rating it in terms of how well it meets visual literacy. And we do that for each outcome. There's 3 outcomes. They call them CLOs now, so course learning outcomes. There's 3 CLOs for ART111, so we'll test each of them. This rubric isn't for grading, so it's not something that the students are ever going to see. You don't even need to record the student's name. What you're doing is just gathering data on how the class in general is doing at meeting those outcomes. What you should use for your example is any paper where a student is analyzing an artwork for at least a page. Remember, when we're doing any kind of like art history writing, we're supposed to be assessing for discussion of, form, content, historical context, and use of medium. So all those kinds of things will probably come up in any kind of visual analysis that you're having them write. I think most of you already do papers of some kind where they're writing about artwork, so you can just use what you already assign. If you don't, just to make it easy for you, you might want to just do an in-class writing. So put up an artwork and have them practice analyzing it in class, and you can use that for assessment. That way you don't have to change what you're already doing in terms of your grades. Okay, so anyway, here's how it works. You have your paper from the student, and I'll send you the link to the form, and you'll click on it, and it'll open up and look like this. So for each student, you're going to fill out one form. Here, it says that it's the assessment rubric. It reminds you that you're going to fill out one form for each student. To get to the next form, you'll hit submit at the end. And remember, this isn't for distribution to students. It's not for grading. It's just to collect data from the art history classes that are going to go to the department's overall assessment effort. So you put in your name. That's just so we can keep track of who's done this. And then hit next. And then for each of the CLOs, it gives you a little page. So here, for example, it says, to what extent does this paper demonstrate the student's ability to identify and analyze the visual characteristics of the artworks they discuss? That's our first CLO. So then it gives you choices. They did thorough and accurate visual analysis. Their visual analysis is present and accurate, but it should be more thorough. Visual analysis occurs, but it's inaccurate or underdeveloped. Or visual analysis is completely absent. So you're looking at your student's paper, and let's say that they really didn't do much. It's very underdeveloped, so we'll give them a 2. And then you hit next. And this is still the same paper. So now you're going to look at that same student paper in terms of the second CLO, which is, to what extent does the paper demonstrate the student's ability to analyze form and content and relate them to cultural and historical significance? So you pick one, based on reading it, obviously. And then the third CLO is this one, which is about evaluating artistic technologies and describe the role of those technologies in the development of art. And then again, you choose one. When I was talking to other instructors, this CLO was the one that people got confused about. So just in case it's confusing, that language, evaluate artistic technologies, we really just mean medium. So if you're talking about, a Dürer painting and his use of oil paint rather than tempera and what that meant for the relationship between the Northern Renaissance and the Italian Renaissance, that would be a discussion of technology. So technology just means medium, really, and how medium relates. Or if you're talking about Impressionism and the way that they started using little easels to be able to paint outdoors and not in the studio, that would be a discussion of technology. So how much they discuss the medium. So let's give them a score for that. And then that's it. There's just 3 CLOs. So for each paper, you grade it based on these CLOs or assess it, and then you hit submit. And then that response is going to automatically get compiled, and then I can see the compiled responses. So I'll be able to see how everybody did in terms of like your general data for your class. And then you hit submit another response and you do the next student. All in all, I'm hoping it won't take too long, because if you're already grading, you can just kind of keep your computer open and just fill out the form while you're grading the paper. Our sections are pretty big, so I think it's undue burden to do every single student. I would say just randomly choose 20, and then we can get a decent sample. So randomly pick 20 of the papers and do these forms for them. And then that'll be it for this semester, and I'll handle it from there in terms of analyzing the data. So I hope that that is not too difficult and not too much of a burden on your time. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll be sending out an email, with this video, but also with the links to everything you need. Okay,